You can see here's the information on today's mastermind. You see we've got all of our Rockstar panelists up there. If you want to suggest a panel, you can do that here too. Where is there is a way to suggest a panel, and they must have moved it on me. But anyway, here's a list of, here it is, suggest a topic right up here. Also, we have a YouTube channel, and I'll put this in the chat for everybody, where we archive all of our recordings. So if you want to come back and see something, or you want to share this with a colleague, you're free to do so. And also, we have a Facebook group, our Grow Global Mastermind Academy. This is where we have access to just information and updates. If you want to share referrals, you're free to do so. Here's last week's. If you got it, guys, if you missed last week's, I'm telling you, Anthony Reddington was a complete rock star talking about how to create a presence for yourself on Google. So
that was brilliant.
This was amazing. So if you got a chance, if you get a chance and you want to watch this, go back to it. We've got it posted right here in the Mastermind, the Grow Global Mastermind Academy. If you want to join this, just do a search for Grow Global Mastermind Academy and we will let you in. All right. I am going to stop sharing. And my name is John Herhold. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm your host today. And I am going to introduce our panelists from Atlanta, Georgia. We have Mr. Rob Campbell, former #1 broker owner of the year for RE/MAX. Rob's been in real estate for almost 30 years, correct, Rob?
Yeah, 30 years. That's right.
Almost getting close. Awesome. We also have Stephanie Gillison from Louisville, Kentucky. Stephanie is one of the top business people I've ever worked with. She does both commercial and residential real estate.
Rosie, no.
Jim, if you can mute yourself, buddy, we'd appreciate it. But Stephanie does both residential and commercial real estate at a high level. I think you have listings in how many states now, Stephanie?
39 states.
39 states. She has listings in 39 states. So she's a rock star. We also have Drew, my buddy Big Drew from up in Indianapolis, probably one of the best relationship guys I've ever worked with. Drew's just the consummate professional at creating relationships with people and using those relationships to grow his business. And then we have Mr. Alex Montagano also from Indianapolis, right around the corner from Drew. Alex has been a top producing agent in the Indianapolis market for a long time, guys. Here we have combined about 150 years experience selling real estate. And we also have, these guys have sold billions of dollars of real estate. So today's mastermind is a little different. It's not about us. It's more about you. It's about you bringing your burning questions. So I'm going to have Stephanie kick it off a little bit. But what we'd like to do is have you guys put your questions in the chat. And or if you got something, raise your hand. But I'm going to have Stephanie kick it off. Stephanie, bring it.
Thank you, John, and welcome everybody. And we were talking about this for quite some time because all of us on this panel have been in the industry. Gosh, what did John say? 150 years combined. Man, we're either old or that's just a long, long time, right? The dinosaurs were roaming, I guess. But anyway, we're always head up. There's not a day that goes by that an agent that experienced or new to the business reaches out to me with all kinds of questions and so forth. And so we wanted today to be about you. So no question is the wrong question. Everything is the right question. And like John said, last week we had on one of the best lead generation tools for organic leads. And so hopefully you all didn't miss that. But if you did, go to the YouTube and watch that video because I received a ton of questions just off of that mastermind. And people said, Stephanie, have you been set up like this? And the answer was no, you all, right? I love showing up to these every single week because no matter how long I've been in the business, I am always learning. And so, that's what today is about. So let's bring the questions and, John, I think raise their hand or even put them in the chat. I know one of the big questions that I get asked on a repeated basis is, how's your market? And right now, our market's a little bit different because in Louisville, Kentucky, the inventory is still super, super low. And I don't know if that's what you all are dealing with. So I have agents that are reaching out to me saying, Stephanie, how do I get listings? Well, you know, one of the things that Anthony showed us last week was if we take advantage of our Google business page and we start putting links into it, telling people what their home values are, that is a great way to drum up listings. And I think by him doing that in the last 30 days, he was able to get 6 listing opportunities just off that alone. And so that's my new answer to people. Hey, I want you to watch this video and I want you to do this because it's something you haven't been doing. And when you look at the real estate agents in the market, I couldn't find hardly anybody aside from Anthony in Louisville, Kentucky that was doing the Google business page accurately. So that's huge. So pay attention to that and watch that video.
We're experiencing incredible inventory shortages as well. And just for context of it, our team 2 weeks ago, we sold 7 houses. Half of those were listings. And those sales happened between Friday and Sunday. And then come this past week, I don't think we sold anything over the weekend. We had 3 mutual releases. And during the week, so stuff that had been sitting on the market for an extended period of time, you know, Monday to Friday, we put 3 houses under contract. And an agent of mine texted me and he was like, man, it is nuts how every single thing we go look at is beat up. It's not presented correctly. It's not priced well. So we're experiencing it big time in our market. And I think part of it is the education. Like we had one client that reached out to an agent of ours asking, when is the right time? Like, do we put it on the market in March? And the reality is if you're listing it between now and March, there isn't a bad time. And the bad thing to do is wait. Just because there is nothing out there. It's supply and demand 101 is what we should be educating the consumer. And if the time aligns with their timeline, it's a good time to go right now. Just because there is so little inventory.
Alex, I love that. What I've been doing is just pushing the meeting up. The second there is a window of opportunity that maybe 2024 is going to be the year, let's get the meeting on the books now, whether it's this week, whether it's next month, whether it's later. You know,
we have all the heavy hitters on this one.
Who we got? Okay, I can.
Sorry, we got her muted.
Yeah, so but I've tried this approach and I said I'm going to be laser focused on getting these meetings lined up, and I went on 7 listing appointments in the last 2 weeks, and it's been tremendous to get them in the right frame of mind. And yes, some of these homes are not in the best shape, so we're trying to help them educate what it looks like, what our past listings have looked like, why we've had success selling our past listings. It's because we have this systematic approach of getting, you know, the homes ready to take it to the market. So I would encourage you guys just to not wait and speed it up as fast as you can, and just start pouring in your people earlier.
Drew, I think you're right on the money. I'm up here in Gatlinburg at a real estate retreat, and one of the biggest themes is we spend our careers in real estate educating buyers and sellers. No matter what the market is, we're educating them, right? And the agents who can educate them better get the deals. Right now, we've had interest rates going up, and so a lot of people pulled back and kind of said, well, I'll wait. Well, as interest rates start coming down, more and more people get in the marketplace. We're still limited inventory. That hasn't changed. And so now we're seeing more and more offers, multiple offer situations, huge open houses happening. We were just talking to a top agent here today, and he said he had 30 people at his open house on Saturday. So that's starting to happen again. Well, now we're getting back into a limited inventory situation and multi-offers again. So that is, as the rate's coming down, we might see that again. But we need more inventory to be able to change this up, and it's not here yet. But like you said, if people want to sell, there's not a bad time to put it on the market, and they can jump out there and if, especially if they're going to repurchase. It's better to repurchase something now than to wait until we get another frenzy going on.
Well, so it's funny you say that. We've got a handful, I think probably of the 19 or 20 pendings that we had, 4 or 5 of those started out as contingent offers. And look, you wait another 45 days to put your house on the market, we won't be entertaining contingencies again. It's just not going to be a thing. That stuff's going to
That's
start
right.
going away. So if
You
you're
got
a
it.
buyer, and look, interest rates have softened, and the messages to the consumer should be like, look, you're in this sweet spot where you can get a little bit of everything. And the key word there is you're going to get it. You're going to be giving away everything as a buyer. At least I believe a couple months from now, especially in the desirable markets around metropolitan Indianapolis, you're going to be 5, 6, 8 offers in some of these properties at price points where people are getting bid out and no contingencies and waiving inspections. That stuff's coming back, at least to
Yes.
some extent. So if you can get in now, pen to property and be desirable from a listing perspective, you kind of get the best of both worlds, which is not always it's not always that way as a consumer in the market.
So, hey guys, we do have a question. Lisa asked, I currently have a listing, but the location is not that appealing. I'm offering incentives because let's face it, I can't change the location. Who has an idea for Lisa or something that she could do to get some more activity on her listing?
Couple questions, John. What's wrong with the location and what incentives are you offering?
Lisa, you want to pop on, unmute?
Yes, I am offering contribution to closing costs and a 1-year home warranty. The location is on a private road, so it's like a long private road, and it's only 3 houses in the area. It's my listing, another house, and another house. And there's a big open space with just land.
What's the price point of this?
It's 255 because the seller already had it appraised before she go on the market.
So, I mean, I'm going to throw something out there because, I mean, I would think that private road and only 3 neighbors is pretty desirable to most.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, and especially in that 255 price point. But here's what you have, Lisa, and I think Rob
Okay.
said this earlier. You've got people that are waiting because they're hearing interest rates are going to go down over the course of the next several months due to the election. And I mean, come on, Jerome Powell came on and said we're going to drop interest rates at least 3 times this year. Go ahead and drop it to what you think it's going to be. And instead of offering seller paid closing costs, have the seller buy down their rate. So get with your favorite loan officer and find out what's it going to cost to buy this rate down to 5% today so that I can blast it out there. Because what you're going to do is drive a buyer that's sitting on their hands waiting, and you're going to go ahead and deliver to them what they're waiting on. And that's a low interest rate. That's what I would do.
A great idea. Yep.
How long's the property been on the market?
Today makes 9 days.
Okay. I mean, look, I think I'm a huge advocate of this. Like pricing a property below market value, if you think those things are challenges that the house is facing. We just experienced this. We had a listing that was in a challenging part of town. And look, you could have made a justification based on the specs of the house that you could list it for between 5 and 10% higher than what it was. And look, I think sometimes you just have to make a property so desirable relative to what the price is. Because look, price is where value meets opportunity. And so the buyers aren't seeing enough value in what you're offering. And Stephanie's saying drive a rate down increases the value of the property, but also the age-old thing, get the property under 250,000 and drive it down to 235. See if things like that make this much more desirable. And some of that, if your seller needs to move quick, some of that's the fastest way to control.
It's actually vacant. She's not living in it.
It's
Sometimes
vacant,
price is the fastest way to go.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Guys, this is a panel. We've had some people pop on in the last few minutes. And if you're just joining us today, this is an open panel. This Monday Mastermind is about you, your challenges, your issues, what it's going to take for you to up your game and get to the next level. So if you have a question, feel free to put it into the chat. And let's go to another one of our panelists. Rob, share with us what are some of the things they're talking about at the real estate agent mastermind that you're at? What are some of the interesting topics that you've heard already?
So they're talking a lot about getting listings, and it's going to be really important over the next few months if you want to control your destiny, your business, is to get more listings. And they were talking about different ways to do that and how they're doing it in different markets. They're also talking about personal branding. They had a whole panel on how they're doing personal branding, unique nicknames, building a brand in a local marketplace, making it cute, fun, doing special TikToks and Reels and how they're able to get more business through that specialized branding. And so it's been kind of interesting to hear these top producing agents and how each of them are doing different things and are able to tweak and change their image, kind of like what the gentleman was talking about last week on our Monday Mastermind on doing something unique with Google Business Page. That was brilliant on how he set that up. Most people don't even know that you need to do that. Everybody should be doing that, but that goes along with branding. That goes along with getting your name out there. So yeah, just getting out there, getting listings, personal branding. That's what they've talked about so far.
And if you haven't seen that mastermind, I actually posted in the chat. If you can, you want to grab it, it's right there. And Alex, you just recently went through a rebrand not too long ago when you created Lockstep, didn't you?
Yeah, so we hired a brand consultant when we did that and put together a lot of thought in it. And the biggest fear I had when I was going through the rebranding process was, I built what was essentially a business with my last name. It was Montagano Real Estate Group. And the fear was, man, what if somebody searches that and can't find me? Or how will somebody identify me with that? And the best thing I could tell anybody about branding is it's consistent messaging across every platform that somebody's going to find you. So when we transitioned from Montagano Real Estate to Lockstep, it was on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. It was on Zillow. It was in our emails. It was on our Google page. Everything flipped overnight. And what people started resonating, it's the consistency of messaging in the social media posts that you continuously do. It's it's the swag that you wear. It's the folder that you bring your listing packets to. It's the coffee cup. I mean, it's me sitting here drinking out of something that says Lockstep Realty, and everyone on this call can see it. But you have to eat, sleep, and breathe that. And if you do that, the consumer will start to identify you. So people no longer recognize me as Alex the Realtor. It's Alex's Lockstep. And then Lockstep is an overarching business entity that is working to control market share in the Indianapolis market. So that's what I would tell you if you're looking to brand. But people can identify if you search top real estate agents Indianapolis, Lockstep Realty pops up right at the top.
Nice.
Awesome. And Drew, Rob was talking about listings, and you've always been a very listing heavy agent. Tell us what you're seeing out there from the listing side right now.
We're seeing obviously the shortage, and when we do take it to the market, we are just being very we're not just putting it on the BLC or the MLS. We are targeting all the agents that have sold maybe in the neighborhood or the school district in the last 365 days. Maybe it's a price point. Maybe it's all the people that are in that area that have pending deals. Where are those people going? And we are just there's really no magic sauce to it, but our sellers just want us to know that we're working hard for them. And I've just always tried to, getting back to like what I was talking about earlier, how do you become the resource for things outside of real estate? And a lot of these listing appointments I've been getting is because I see these people at different places, and if they see me coaching their kids' basketball game, it allows them, we have a meeting, we have this listing meeting, and then I get to see them multiple times at basketball. And it may not be the most appropriate time for me to say, let's talk about the house thing, but they love talking about it. So it's just like making sure you guys are a part of you get more relational instead of transactional. And I think that you'll find ways to add value to them. I have this is going off on a tangent, but just to give you a clear example, there's going to be 80 people from my kids' school going to the same place for spring break. And Jared Cowan can attest, I have a Palm Bay Club of Siesta Key with all 22 families, with Grayson Schrader, 5th grade, Sullivan, 3rd grade, Addison, 1st grade. I'm imagining sleepovers. I'm imagining lots of communication. I've got a whole roster in a Google sheet that's going way above and beyond. But since I'm going there, I'm going to make it better. And if you guys are focused on always making everything that you do better and intentional, I promise you the real estate thing is going to work out for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's switch gears here. Stephanie, there's obviously been some changes in the last 6 months where we've had all these lawsuits, and becoming a buyer's agent is shifting on how we have to do business. You've got an interesting perspective on that. Would you mind sharing some of that with us, please?
Well, I think that, and on the commercial side of real estate, it has always been the case that if you're going to represent a buyer or a tenant, that they sign a fee agreement, right? I know what my value is, and that's what it's going to cost for me to go to work for somebody. And so I think now on the residential side, look, there's agents that have done a great job of it. They've incorporated it into their business, several years back. And now I think we're all forced to, have a different speak. But you've got to look at, what it is that you provide, to a buyer, and what's that value, and be able to have that conversation. I'm seeing, because this is something that I've paid a lot of attention to. Every day I'm reading about any and every new lawsuit that gets filed. There's so many copycats out there. Do I agree with any of them? Absolutely not. I think it's ridiculous, but a jury has determined, and we'll see what happens in appeals. But as of right now, you need to be thinking about how do you want to get compensated? What is your time worth? We're already seeing on certain listings where 0 cooperation percentages or 1.5%. I'll be honest, I don't put people in my vehicle and tour or show or do any of that. I've always stayed on the listing side of things. And if I happen to show a buyer, it's because I own the property. Okay. And that's different. But, we're already seeing it. And so what are you going to do to have those conversations? And we talked about this before this call today. That's going to be an entire mastermind in itself as we coach you all through what your worth is. But mine goes like this, and this happens all the time, where someone will reach out to me and say, look, I want to buy an income producing strip center or multifamily or whatever the case might be. In commercial real estate, I'm not going on to the MLS and finding those properties. I have to scour tons of sites. Sometimes if it hits the market, it's already sold. So I've got to be picking up the phone and calling owners and asking if they have a desire to sell. It's work, you all. And so when that buyer is asking me to represent them, it's real simple. It's real simple. Well, I want to at least get paid 3% of the purchase price. So before I go to work, do you have a problem signing this fee agreement? This is what I'll be delivering to you. And anything I bring you, I'm going to get paid 3%. If the seller pays that or a portion of it, great. If they don't, you will be paying it. And if the answer's no, I don't work for them, because there's not enough hours in the day as it is to go and work for free. And so I'm very clear, all the agents on my team, same exact thing. We have never had an issue having anybody sign a buyer representation agreement. If they're legitimate, if they have a need and they have a want, they will do it. Just make sure that you're doing your part, right? And that's delivering them a product.
My video, is it working?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
I think I want to pivot on that a little bit because I think there's going to be some people here that maybe have the question of like, what if I have a VA buyer? What if I have a first-time home buyer who goes and sees a 0% co-op and they don't know what to do? And there's a couple different angles with that. I think, getting educated with your lenders on that side of things of like what direction is Fannie and Freddie looking to go to maybe help this process along. But that's like the big fear that a buyer's agent's going to feel right now. And what I'll tell you is if you looked across your MLS right now, you would venture to find that there are far less of these 1%, 0%, 0.5%, flat fee rate. There's far less of that than you will imagine that there already is, because it's in the best interest of the seller to offer a co-op that is relative to what the market standard has been over the last however many years. So I think there's, hold the phone on the panic button there as an agent, but I do think, like Stephanie said, you do need to be prepared in the instance you do get a request to see a property that is not offering a BAC or anything like that. You don't work for free. No matter
Right.
what, you don't work for free. And having that conversation, we experienced it last year with a for sale by owner that wouldn't pay a fee. We went to our buyer buying a multifamily property and said, "Here's what you get with this." And he said, "Yeah, in a second, I'll figure it out. I'll come up with the money. It hurts my cash flow or it does this, but it's far too much of a risk not to have you in my corner." And that's where you're worth, the value you provide, the things that you do for your client. If you're an agent that simply opens a door and follows the MLS and doesn't have any market relationships and doesn't get any off-market opportunities for the buyer, well then yeah, like good luck getting anything. But if you're doing far more than that, if you're searching behind the scenes, if you're working the relationships that you have, you should feel comfortable telling the consumer, look, here's where it is and here's what it is. We got to do something.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see buyer agency agreement going forward a must because of everything that's going on. And we've been doing buyer agency agreements in our markets for a long time, and we've having to teach agents how to sell it because in the buyer agency agreement, you're saying, hey, look, I can go show you this property, but technically I'm helping the seller. I can't legally give you advice on this property unless we have an agency relationship. Now, by entering this buyer agency agreement, I can legally give you advice on this property, and I'm advocating for you to get you the best deal in this scenario. So that's the kind of wording. And also on the commission, having the commission in there, you also tell them, look, this gives me the ability to negotiate with the seller to make sure this fee is covered and you don't have to pay it out of pocket. So that gives you the power by them signing that document, you're actually helping them. And by selling it that way, and there's a lot more wording that they use, but by selling it that way, it says, well, why I need to have this signed. I have to have this signed type thing.
Yeah. Drew, any thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to ask just a question to maybe Stephanie and Alex. So all my business is referral based, but you have the occasional sign call on a listing or maybe somebody you don't know. At what point do you guys think it is best to introduce the buyer agency contract? Do you provide them a little bit of service and go show the house and maybe screen them and make sure they're qualified to buy the house with a pre-approval letter and whatnot? And then after that, then do you say, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I think the answer that you're going to get is going to be different from not only every panelist that's talking today, but every agent in the room. And I don't think, look, if it's me, I'm going to ask it right up front. If it's Stephanie's going to say, I'm not getting in my car unless you do this right now. And that's the brass tacks. And that's the reality of it. But if you're a newer agent, like we look at it, and we've talked about this as a team, if we treat it like a first time, an online lead calling in and saying, I want to go look at this property. You may get one freebie and we meet you at the property and we work to develop rapport in a relationship. And then if it's like the next step, hey, look, I'd love to take you out and show you more properties. If this isn't the one, here's one thing that we do. It's a standard requirement. And what we're trying to do, actually, it's like a fact-finding document about the buyer. Okay. So it's like, when's your birthday? Who's your family? What are these things? And you kind of blend it in, So it doesn't feel like, oh, here's this weird, rigid document you're making me sign that you did a poor job of explaining, and I feel like I'm being roped into something. It's here's what we do as a business that helps us serve you better. And then here's this other contract that comes along with that. It helps build the relationship. Then you could work in the pre-approval and all this stuff, but it's this idea of I'm going to give you something, but then when I ask, it's time to either play nice in the sandbox or you're not allowed to play here. And as an agent, it's your responsibility to figure out how that timeline works best for you. Drew, for you, somebody that's like high relationship all the time and doesn't take a ton of online leads or things like that, you're probably going to have to ask those questions up front or get comfortable doing that. Or for somebody like you, it would be in your best interest, just refer those online leads out or those sign calls out and let somebody else handle that too. Take a referral and sit back and collect a check.
I'm gonna send them to you, Alex.
That works. We could do that. Got a deal.
There's something I want to add to that, because I'm not the person, like Alex said, that says, I'm not showing you anything. No, I don't do that. But when I'm doing residential real estate, typically it's in one of my own developments, or it might be a home that I've built. Okay. And so when someone calls off of the sign or off the internet and they've reached me directly, it's my listing. And so I do, after the qualification side of it, because look, there's one thing I won't do, and that's do Sunday drive tours, right? What do I mean by that? People that just want to see inside of a $2.5 or $3 million home. I'm not interested, just not. And so I do ask those qualifying questions, are you going to be financing this purchase or paying cash? And if they say we're going to be financing, who is your lender? I want to know all of those things, because I'm not interested in a hobby for myself. I'm just not. Now, when they tell me that, that's great. We set up the time and we meet with them. And this actually happened 3 times this weekend. Okay. I'm showing them that I open the door. I let them see the house. I'm giving them, the overview of the property. I've built it, so I know the home better than anybody. Right. And when they start to get into who they are, what they do, I go, hold on 1 second, please. I don't want to know information about you, because then you're going to put me into a fiduciary responsibility place where I need to represent you. And I don't represent buyers without a contract. So if you'd like to proceed forward, I need to run and get this agreement, or please don't tell me any of that information. Because you do know at the time of that information being told, you should then have an agency guide, right? Disclosure form. I don't put myself in that shoes. And here's the other thing about that scenario of what has kept me sane. 25 years in the business, and I still love it, is because I am a no nonsense, no drama person. This is being recorded, so I'm going to keep it clean. I don't care about drama and all of these types of things, right? You can open up a whole can of worms with people sometimes. I stay business oriented from start to finish. That's just who I am. And it has kept me sane, because I don't get into the drama of clientele. I won't allow it to happen. And if they want me there, they will have signed that agreement and they will be paying me to do so. Because therapists make X amount of dollars an hour, attorneys make X dollars per hour, and guess what? Stephanie Gillison makes X amount of dollars per hour.
Love it. Love it. Hey, Janice O'Quinn has a question. I have a listing that's a condo in a desirable area. It's been on the market since the beginning of October, with one price change from 180 to 178. The biggest negative comment that I've gotten when I get feedback from showings is the bathroom is too small. I need some advice on what can I do. Who wants to take a stab at that one?
Reduce the price. There's no value in what the price is, so the bathroom's the excuse. Drive the number down. Take it to 169,000 tomorrow. I bet you sell it. If that's the alignment of what it needs to be, you know.
Yeah, it's almost always price if it's not going to.
With something like that.
Yeah.
Can't make the bathroom bigger. You can make the price lower.
Yep.
Yep. All right, here's the second part of her question. Also, the seller has a home. The seller has to buy a home when her condo sells and must coordinate the sell with her purchase. Is the only thing that can be done is make the purchase contingent with the sale of the condo. We all know most sellers don't like contingencies. Anybody else?
Well, I mean, has she tried to get approved without the sale of that condo? Because I mean, if the answer is yes, and that answer is no, that she can't get financed without the sale, well, then now you know your answer, and
What?
you're right, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
I think too, it's really, I said this earlier, you better get that thing sold now and you better get her under contract in something soon because look, selling her property becomes easier maybe in 45 days, but buying something becomes a world
Yeah.
of pain for you as an agent. And this whole deal gets pushed away. And,
Yeah.
you know, the worst case thing in all of this, I mean, if it's October, you're 120 days into a contract. If you're on a 6-month contract, you better look at getting an extension, recalibration, or getting something together pretty quick. And look, I think there's a lot of people who haven't experienced more so the last 18 months. But look, if you sold real estate before 2018, there were contracts that expired after 180 days. There were listings that expired. I've been
Sure.
fired from listings. Now, COVID to 2022, you put a sign in the yard and a house was sold, and you'd get 90-day contracts and everything was fine. But the reality is you don't want to lose this client altogether. So it's in their best interest. Whack the price, get aligned on what a buying strategy can be with a lender and move quickly because the market is moving the other way against the grain for your client as a buyer.
Well, and here's another way to address that as well. If it's a difficult property and you need to get that property out of the way so you can buy something else, why not lease purchase it? Find somebody that will do a lease to purchase, put some money down on it so they'll probably stay with it. And that way they'll more likely, the reason they need to lease purchase is for some reason they're willing to take a less desirable property on a lease to purchase. That takes it off of your books. You can now able to qualify because it's now an investment property and then move on to the next.
You know, we had an interesting a comment, and Stephanie kind of was thinking the same thing. And I was wondering if I could get Kendrick to come online because he said instead of reducing the price, find smaller people to sell the house to.
John, I didn't publicly say that. I only did it in the chat because I didn't want that out there.
Right. There you go.
Anyway, so here's the thing. We've got, you know, we're in a market right now. We've talked about how there's some things that are going on and times are a little bit more challenging than they've been in the past, but there's also people that grow. We've all seen people that have grown in challenging markets, people that have taken their business to the next level. What could you do right now to be that person? If you're on this call right now and you're sitting here thinking, God, I want to go to the next level, and everybody's talking about how difficult things are, what can you do right now to separate yourself to be that agent that grows and bursts through during a challenging time? Rob, you want to start?
I'm going to chime in on some of that because, you know, right now, a lot of times we stay in constant contact with our active clients, right? But then you've got a whole sphere of people potentially that you're not having conversations with. And look, they forget about us, right? And so one of the best things that I have done to stay consistent with my sphere is to do a weekly reach out to them. That might sound like a lot, but it's not. And usually what'll happen is I'll send out every Monday, a massive newsletter goes out. And it's got everything that I'm doing in real estate, but it's also got some important things about what's going on in the marketplace. And I get more thank yous because and I get them saying to me, we don't have to turn on the news. We just wait for the Monday news. They love being told these things. So think about that. That goes right along with all the branding that you're doing, all the consistency, but just stay in contact with them. And then for those of you that are like, well, I don't really have a sphere of past clients or okay, well then, Thano did this one day on a mastermind, getting in touch with people in general, right? Maybe it's a neighborhood, maybe it's an entire zip code, maybe it's, your church, maybe school, like Drew's doing with all the parents going on school. Do something, because those are the people that are going to get the business, right? Those are the people that are going to get the business. And then ask for the business.
Yep.
That's the key. Not only are you staying in constant contact with them, but I want you to work it in to where, depending on how big your people are, I've got over 44,000 people in my database. That's a lot of people to reach. So I have to do it to the masses. But I always pick a certain number of them. And I pick up the phone and I go, hey, Judith, how's it going? She's like, Stephanie, she feels like she talks to me all the time because she receives something from me every single week. All right. Yep. I go, Judith, tell me who's got something to sell or buy. Tell me, give me a list of names. She'll give me names. Always. And then I call them up and I said, hey, Scott, I was on the phone with Judith Rosenberg. She told me that you had a special need and that this is what you're looking for. And this is who I am. This is, she told me to call you. That's what I do, you all. It's really not that hard. It's time, but that's what I'm here to do, is to put in the hours to get back the compensation. When I made a decision a long time ago to always make consistently $1 million a year in commission, that's what I had to do that. That's what I know I have to do that. And it's making the calls and asking for business.
That's right.
There's no fear. There's no fear.
I'll swipe this from Drew because I know it's going to be his thing about what he would do. But I wrote down 2 things: increase your conversations, which is exactly what Stephanie just said. So whether that's your sphere, whether it's your church, whether it's the gym you go to, no matter where it is, increase the number of conversations you have about anything in life. So you could be learning about critical things that, may make somebody have to move, may make them want to move, life events, things like that. And as you're finding that out, you increase the intentionality of the conversation that you have. So if you're going to go to a gym at whatever time every day, maybe that's your mental therapy and it's great for your physical fitness, but you should wear a shirt that says you're a realtor and you should talk to people there about what you do or what's important in their life so you can provide some sort of value to them. And you need to do this all the time. You go to a restaurant and the server's a great person, you may say, oh my gosh, man, I really love this. I'd love to get a cup of coffee with you. Maybe that person's thought about getting into real estate. Maybe they have no idea that they could buy or sell a property and they make a ton of money because they work at a great restaurant that you went to. And it's the intentionality about what you do, that every single person you cross is somebody at some point who may buy or sell something. And increasing the intentionality, increasing the number of conversations that you have all the time. Look, some of that's uncomfortable and some of it's tiresome, but like Stephanie just said, if you have a goal to make more money or you have a goal to do more business, this is what it takes to do that. It can't just be, I want to post on social media 4 times a week. Great, do that and do something else. It doesn't always have to be or. You drove by a FSBO, why didn't you call him? FSBO is an opportunity to talk to somebody that has a property they want to sell. They may be buying something. You may have a buyer for it. Increase the intentionality of what you're doing.
Yep. That's right. Because great agents are made in tough times, because the great agents, they're going to do difficult things. They're going to do uncommon things. They're going to do things that other people aren't doing. And if you go do those things, then you're going to be successful. That's just the bottom line.
Hey guys, Thano has raised his hand. Go ahead, Thano.
Hey, just real quick, for your databases, I know Stephanie, you said you have like 40 something thousand. That's that's like quadruple mine.
25 years, man, 25
yeah,
years.
yeah. But a simple thing to do is send regular communications that will clean your database. And instead of going on social media and offering, hey, here's a $10 Starbucks card or this or that, put your money where your mouth's at. Say, hey, anybody who replies to my email with an updated phone number, email address, and home mailing address, I'm going to give away a $250 gift card to whatever the nicest restaurant in your city is. Something like that that will make people want to say, here's my information. And then, Alex has challenged us as a team to go out and do video CMAs, get those addresses, get those people, and you got to give something to get something. So if you're willing to put that couple $100, say, hey, here's this St. Elmo's. Everybody knows St. Elmo's in Indianapolis, big steakhouse. Everybody goes there. Say, hey, here's a $200 gift card to St. Elmo's. All I need is your name, email address, phone number, and your updated home address. And then, just again, have them send that information to you on a regular basis, getting that information, and then turn around and use that to reach back out to them and provide more value. And that's an easy way to help clean up your database and create specific segmented lists to increase the quality and the intentionality of your conversations.
Awesome. Thank you.
One thing we recently did, I want to put this out there real quick because this is an easy thing. If you're on social media or you have a monthly newsletter that you send out, one thing our team did, I've done it a couple years now, it always draws a response. You put out an email to your database, or it's a poll or a survey on your social media, and it just says, what are your real estate intentions for 2024? So all your question is, and then you have 5 or 6 options about what it is. I want to buy, I want to sell, I want to do both, I want to build, I want to remodel my kitchen, or I have no intentions, or I want to invest. You'd be surprised. I had 5 people reach out to me from mine, and it was like, Alex, here's where I want to go live. It's premature, but I appreciate you reaching out, putting this on your radar. Now I can keep an eye to go, hey, I know it's a little premature, but did you see that house that just hit the market on this lake that you told me that you want to go live at? Should we go look at it just for fun? Just to kind of stir that conversation. But the one question survey is what we call it. It probably got, for another colleague on my team, got a ton from it. One girl on our team sent that out and they said, hey, we just wanted to let you know our house is pretty much ready to go on the market and we want to start the buying process again. Put that on social media and say, answer the question below and we'll enter you in to win, like Thano just said, some sort of gift card, some sort of those things work really well.
So just to clarify, a couple of people have asked, Thano, you're talking about entering them into a drawing for the $250. Not everybody that gives their name and number gets $250 gift card, right? Yeah. All right. Just
That's correct. That's correct. Not everybody. We'd go broke if that was the case.
All right. Just wanted to be clear. So next question for the our staff. Coaching. I know Alex has got a coach and working with a coach has helped him grow his business, but I know Stephanie has never used a real estate coach. And I know Rob Campbell has been a real estate coach. Talk about your perspective on coaching, why you've used it, why you haven't used it, and what kind of value do you think it brings to the table?
I have paid for a coach. I'm going on 8 years. And when I hired a coach, I had goals to be a higher producer than the highest producer was at the brokerage I was working at. So as I started growing, I was growing past the people that I was learning from. So I hired a coach. I hired Tom Ferry. I did 3 years with Tom Ferry and felt I kind of grew past that relationship that I had with the coach that I had. I took a year off and then I hired another coach that I've worked with for 5 years. And what I've noticed, I pay $800 a month. Some people be like, holy smokes, that's like a mortgage payment. I got to get $10,000 worth of accountability and value sprinkled out over the course of 1 year. And look, I could talk to Stephanie and I could talk to Drew and I can talk to Rob, and I do all of that. But every single 2 weeks, I have an accountability call with a coach that says, Alex, did you do these things that you talked about? There's creative ideas that we get.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get on there and I talk about life. Like, man, I'm really struggling being a realtor, a team lead, and a dad all at the same time. And it's like peeling back the onion of who I want to be as a person. Just that in itself can be worth a lot to help you go be more effective, to have better conversations with clients and other realtors in our market. So I'm somebody that's a huge believer in it. Michael Jordan had a coach, and it was not just Phil Jackson. Kobe Bryant had a coach. All these guys have coaches. You know, part of the problem with the Patriots at the end was that Tom Brady's football coach didn't like Tom Brady's trainer coach. Well, they won a lot of championships, so we made it all work. So that's the things I would tell you is you're never too good to not have the accountability in somebody that's in your corner, especially specialized in your side of the business.
Yeah, if an agent is making enough money or enough for themselves and they don't want any more, or they don't want to grow anymore, they may not need a coach. But for what I've seen is most agents are not self-motivated. Stephanie is an anomaly. She's self-motivated. She's going to make anything happen, right? But most agents aren't, and they need some direction. And what I've noticed is the agents who want to take their game up a notch or even a lot more is when they get a coach, an accountability person, someone that can look at them and say, hey, I've noticed based on your numbers that you're really good in this area and not so much in that area. Let's focus more on that area. And they can give you some direction. They can see, they can track your numbers. They can give you a direction each call and help you to move forward steadily. That's what I've seen coaches give a lot of value for the agents who really want and or need that type of a push.
Awesome. Awesome. Laura has a question. Can we brainstorm on some ideas on moving buyers and sellers off the fence? Who wants to take a stab at that?
Fear. If you can figure out a way to scare them to say, hey, if you don't buy something now, in the next 6 months, you're going to be paying a ton more money and trying to bid out everybody to get something, right? So you've got to figure out a way to push the buttons and make them to go. And it's in their best interest. Do you not agree that if they bought something today, they'd be better off than buying it 4 or 5 months from now? Yes, they're going to be mad if they wait and they have to pay that extra money. And if they don't, you can always look back and say, see, I gave you the right information. Now don't mess up again. Let's go forward, right? So yes, just pushing them like that.
One thing I've noticed, let's say you have 5 buyers, they're all on the fence, 3 sellers, they're all on the fence. You can't get anybody to move. And you're trying to figure out and you're spinning your wheels trying to figure out how to get those clients off the fence. I would tell you continue to foster those relationships and continue to ask better questions to figure out why they're on the fence so you can provide some value to get them off. But go find more clients. Those aren't the right clients right now. They're not A-level clients. You need A-level clients. And sometimes the people that are B's and C's that are stuck on the fence, if you do enough work, you can keep them there and they'll come get off the fence. If you try this tactic and you try, education and spending time with them or meeting them for coffee or sending them properties or bringing a buyer to their house if it's a seller to get them off the fence to move. None of that stuff works. Go find better and more clients. Find people that have to move, not people that are just going to, some people will sit on the fence forever if you let them.
I love that, Alex. I think asking better questions, asking why they may be pump faking a little bit or hesitant. I know Rob Mager had somebody that was so interest rate focused that when DR Horton, local builder here, probably national builder where most of you guys are from, they did an incentive for 4.75. Rob knows that person is focused on interest rate, sends it to them and gets it under contract. So I think it's just asking the right questions of why they are sitting on the sidelines, and that'll help you.
All right, we have a question from Lindera from Memphis. I have a listing coming. Caveat is he sold his home to Easy Knock, took out the equity, and now he's paying rent to them. Can someone give a suggestion as to how I can get him out of this house quickly without listing?
Well, I'm not familiar with Easy Knock, but I don't think it's a Lindera or any real estate agent's answer. I think he needs to seek an attorney, because if you're saying to me he sold it to Easy Knock and now they hold the deed and he's paying them rent, he's got a bigger problem than any of us can answer on this call. I don't think he owns a house.
No, well, he doesn't. He does not own the house, but they do want him part of the listing process. So when you look it up, it says that the house is owned by Easy Knock, but the contract or the directions, it's not a contract. The directions I got from them is they are listed as the owners, but he approves the selling price. So they want him involved in the process, but I'm finding out just by meeting with him, because he needs money fast. And I'm just thinking listing is not going to be a good option for him because he has so many sick family members living with him. So I looked into Express Offers, I looked into Zenlist, and I'm just, can someone give me some direction as to how I can help him move this house quickly, get Easy Knock paid, and then put a little bit of money in his pocket?
Can you get Easy Knock out of the picture?
Not at all.
I think Stephanie's right. You need an attorney to go over the documents to see what the terms and conditions are on that. My guess is that Easy Knock's got a guaranteed listing on that. They'd be an idiot not to do it if they're going to do that. So have them read through the documents, have an attorney give the advice on what to do, because that sounds weird.
Yeah, there's I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just giving you something else to look for, but talk to the attorney, have them review the docs. There's probably a release fee and he may not get a dime, like a prepayment penalty.
Yep.
For so long, who knows? I don't know. Lindara, I mean, my first gut reaction was run. I'm sorry.
I did not find out about this until after he approached me, because I was helping him to purchase at first.
Yeah.
But during the bidding wars, he ran out of money. So he said, okay, let's just list the house and I will worry about where to go to next. So I don't know. He's a close friend. So that's why I'm trying to help him. But yeah, when he hid it from me for months what he had done. And I just found out in January of last year what he had done. And like August, when I went over to list, we found out he had no pipes under the house. So they replaced the piping as well. So the plumbing as well. So he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And I'm just trying to do whatever I can to help him.
Well, I would look at this too. I mean, look, you didn't advise this. He kind of walked down this path himself. I think you would be wise to say it's in your best interest to call an attorney when you get more information, then come back to me. But you going out and trying to play hero right now because you have a relationship, well, part of this is like, yes, I feel that, but he went behind your back and like you just said, he hid that from you. So he needs to get some more information and then come back to you. And look, you may not be able to be helpful, and that's okay. But yeah, not good.
Okay. Thanks, you guys.
Guys, this wraps up our agent panel. I want to thank all of our panelists for joining us today. Stephanie, Drew, Rob, and Alex, you guys knocked it out of the park. Next week, we're having another mastermind. And Rob, Rob, I know you kind of set the topic up for next week.
Yes.
We got going next week. You want to share?
So sure, absolutely. So if you're looking to build another source of business in your portfolio, how about working with investors or finding properties for investors? The guy we have coming on next week is David Hughes, is in my group down in Sarasota. He actually has a group of people that he teaches how to invest in property all over the country. He has big seminars that he puts together, but he actually partners with people on how to do investments. And so he's going to talk about how real estate agents can work with investors, what investors are looking for, how to source properties for investors, and then how to get partner deals. Because he did 50 deals last year personally himself, not to mention all the others he's helped his investors put together on their own. So he's going to talk about how you can build another source of income by working with investors.
Awesome. That will be next week at this time. And if you're an agent on this call and you know another agent that might be interested in learning about that or hearing that information, we would love to have them as your guest on our Monday Mastermind. They can just join us at the same link, www.realtormastermind.live. Thanks again, everybody, for coming. We're so glad you're here, and join us next week. Bring a friend, and thanks again to our panelists. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great week. Let's knock it out of the park. Go sell some real estate.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.